are kicking off this show with some information about the weather. My good friend Adam Sherwinski is joining me now for an Ask Your Meteorologist segment on flash droughts. So you said these words to me this morning, Adam, and I know what a flash flood is, but what is a flash drought?
Yeah, right. It's a word you don't hear very often, but we've had it here in Central Illinois a couple of times already. And what it is it's just kind of the rapid intensification of a drought. So we have drought-like conditions already in Central Illinois. We've kind of been talking about that on our weathercast multiple times. I don't know if you've heard us multiple times say it's dry, we need rain, we need rain. Well, we've got severe drought going on here in Champaign County right now. And that's kind of a concern considering our forecast is still dry, so lack of rainfall. And not just, a deficit, we are going to have a lack of rainfall, and temperatures are going to rise again. So when you have those combinations, that can lead to a flash drought, not just for us, but even into parts of central Indiana, the rest of our state moving southward and into maybe parts of Missouri too. So we're keeping an eye on this because that could be a huge issue as we're now getting into harvest season. We got to have more machinery in the fields and stuff, and we're already going to have more activity going up and down the highway too. And again, one small spark, and that can cause a lot of problems, especially with how dry the vegetation already is here. So if we look at our graphics here, you'll notice that there it is right there. It popped in. I like that.
That was cool.
That was really cool. That was really cool. I like that. All right, so you can see we have our drought monitor. This is from September 4th. We'll get an update on Thursday on it, but you can see right there in Champaign County and into Piatt and DeWitt County, you can see that severe drought. Pretty much abnormally dry across much of central Illinois and much of central Indiana too. I can see that already being an expansion as we get our next update there on Thursday. There's a little bit of a lag in data collection here, but we don't have any rain in the forecast, and that's going to be a huge issue to begin with. All right, so it's already dry. We're not expecting any rainfall to begin with, and we've been dry since August.
Oh, wow.
The beginning of August.
Okay.
So you can see this is how much rainfall since August we've had. About 51% of what we normally would have in that time span here. 40% in Decatur, 4% in Springfield, and 1% there in Mattoon and Charleston. And you can just see how low it is. Those numbers are not very high. Usually average rainfall since August 1st. And this was done from yesterday's data, close to about over 4 inches.
So I have a question about this because I see the little fire concern up in the corner with a drought, obviously. But what are some other problems besides lack of crops and fire that, might be a result of this? So
flash drought, really it can cause anything from lakes being lowered too, which is another problem. Not all communities, but some communities rely on their local lakes for water. Also fish life, not good to have really low water levels. Single River is pretty low. When it comes to the Mississippi River, that's transportation. That's where a lot of the crops and grains go up and down the Mississippi River. Same with the Ohio River too. So that's also a concern, not just within our viewing area, but area-wide. Illinois River is a closer example for us here. So again, this is all caused kind of like we've had the lack of rainfall. We're expecting more lack of rainfall. That would continue on our normal drought route. But when you add in more wind, which we're not expecting a lot more wind, but we are still having some gusty days here or there. We haven't had a gusty summer, which is really good. But if you add a lot of wind, you add in a lack of rainfall already in the forecast, and then you add in drying vegetation. We've already got that. Plus, you've got heat picking up as well. That can kind of exacerbate the problem, make it worse than it already is. It's already a deficit. Now we could add to the actual flash drought. Those extra components of heat and lack of wind and the dry air, those kind of make it worse. So it's like, it's already bad, gonna get worse because of that. So that's where we're watching out for this. And you're probably thinking, okay, the easy solution, we just get a day where we get lots of heavy rainfall, lots of thunderstorms.
Problem solved, right?
Problem solved, right? That's not how it works when you have drought conditions. You want more of a steady long-term rain coming back in, because when you have grass, it really absorbs it really well.
Sure.
And your grass is dry, it doesn't do as well here with that. So just keep that in mind. It can kind of somewhat absorb it, but not as efficiently. So healthy grass, great for absorption, especially some of those prairie grasses too, really useful too. My earpiece keeps coming out. My voice is already dry. You can see how my voice is kind of, it's really dry
in here. You need some of the rainfall.
I need some rainfall in my throat.
The parchness.
But there you can see the dry grass absorbed a little bit more slowly. And then if you have no grass, you have soil, it's been really dry, and your grass is just kind of it's pretty much dead at that point. It just acts as runoff. So we could have a flash flooding concern. Droughts typically have that problem where you have all that dry conditions out in the desert. You have all that rain come in. Flash flooding is a big concern out in the desert Southwest. When they have a long stretch, obviously they don't get a lot of rainfall, and then they get those flash flooding events because it's so dry. Boom, there you go.
And also, as the temperatures, I know you said that there's going to be a heat wave, but then when it gets cooler again, there can also be flash freezes, right?
Yes,
What is that?
that's something completely different, but it's got the name flash in it, so we'll talk about it. We always talk about flash flooding. Flash freezes are kind of interesting because that happens closer towards the November, December time period. Here in Central Illinois, we have so many different types of precipitation when it comes to December, January, and February.
Right.
What happens is you've got a system coming in, temperatures are going to drop. First it rains on the ground, right? And then the temperatures drop so rapidly that it starts to freeze over. So it's not just a gradual freeze. I mean, it happens pretty quickly, pretty briskly. Not flash as in instantly, but we call it flash because it happens so quickly. So again, flash is a right term because it happens very fast. So flash droughts take only a couple of weeks to cause a huge problem.
Right.
Flash flooding, only a couple of minutes to a couple hours to cause a huge problem. And then flash freezing.
Freezing.
It's all about the speed of how quickly it happens. So.
Yeah. Well, Adam, thank you very much for being here.
I'm gonna go get some rain in my throat here in a minute.
You need some water for your flash drought in your throat area. In your throat.
Water, Sandy, I need water.
Well, if you have a question for Adam, you can email him at Sherwinski@WCIA.com, or you can find us both on social media.